We had two near no-hit bids on Wednesday. Let's discuss on Fantasy Baseball today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, September 12th. I am Frank Stampfl, joined by Scott White, and we had two near no-hit / perfect game bids on Wednesday. And first up, Bowden Francis took a no-hitter into the 9th inning for the second time in his last 4 starts. The final line, 8+ innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. So we spent a lot of time talking about this on the Full Length podcast, Scott. Bowden Francis has been a fascinating pitcher to analyze during this recent stretch. Somehow still only 58% started, and he's at the Texas Rangers next week. I think I feel pretty good getting him back in the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, clearly must start for now, for however long this lasts. And given how late we are on the calendar, it may just last the rest of the season, which would be great. It would be great if you could just trust Bowden Francis the rest of the way. You mentioned the 2 no-hit bids. It's actually 4 of his last 6 starts where he's allowed just 1 hit. And each of them 7 innings or more. So it's not like these are converted reliever starts. These are big boy starts for Bowden Francis. And look, I was open to the idea of him being a respectable fantasy option when he moved into the rotation. He had good numbers between the majors and minors last year, most of it in relief, but it seemed like there was something there, good control, fly ball pitcher to maybe limit hits. So I was open to the idea of him being good, but this is a little ridiculous. And look, if he has another 1-hit effort in his final 3 turns or whatever it is, then I will be floored because it's already gone on longer than it has any right to. But I don't know what to take away from it long term because this is clearly too good to be true. You mentioned the 1 strikeout in this start. It's not like Bowden Francis is some. You wouldn't think he's a big-time bat misser. He has added a splitter to his arsenal, but it's not like the characteristics on that pitch individually are great. Maybe it's elevated everything else, but maybe the league catches up to it. I don't know. I think if nothing else, Bowden Francis has earned the right to be drafted next year. I wonder how much his profile would change if one of his final 3 starts he just gets bombed, which is, of course, possible. But right now, I'm mostly just scratching my head over what's happening.
The other name, Bryan Woo, took a perfect game into the 7th inning up against the Padres, and the final line, 6 2/3, 2 runs, 5 strikeouts, 12 whiffs on 89 pitches, and last 8 starts for Bryan Woo, a 2.42 ERA, a .75 whip, 45 strikeouts to just 4 walks over 52 innings during that stretch. And he's another one much more widely rostered and started, Scott, but this recent stretch has just been fantastic from Bryan Woo.
Yeah, and in some there you could point to some similarities here between him and Bowden Francis. More of a fly ball pitcher, so he's good at hit prevention. Elite control, but like elite control, like maybe the best control in baseball here for Bryan Woo. And more than anything, though, is since he arrived in the majors, he's pretty much been this guy. Certainly all of this year, he's been this guy. The difference lately is that he's going deeper into starts. Remember early in the year, he was dealing with a forearm issue off and on, a lot of 4-inning starts for Bryan Woo. We weren't totally sure if we could trust him, but his 6 longest starts of the season have come in his last 7 turns, and all of them more than 6 innings. So he's making big boy starts too, and the percentages are just as impressive. So I feel more confident saying I'm going to draft Bryan Woo as a top 40 pitcher next year.
Let's wrap up with a waiver wire question. 2 hitters who are red hot right now. Taylor Ward, 1 for 4 with his 23rd home run, having a big second half. And Tommy Edman, 4 home runs in his past 2 games. He's got 5 steals in 21 games with the Dodgers. And both are 71% rostered or less. Scott, who do you like more over the final couple of weeks here? Taylor Ward or Tommy Edman?
I like them both. They both have good matchups on the schedule. I think all things being equal, I'd take Tommy Edman. He's startable at more positions. He's going to give you an element of speed that Taylor Ward lacks. But if you need an outfielder specifically, if you need power specifically, I think Ward's the better choice. I don't think he's a great player, but he has stretches where he looks like a great player. It's been the last few years, it's played out this way where he'll have several weeks where he looks like a must-start outfielder, and then he'll disappear for months. And it tends to be the start of the season and the end of the season where he's great. And lo and behold, we're at the end of the season here, and Taylor Ward is doing it again. So I do have a certain amount of trust in that pattern that he's developed over the past few years.
For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we will be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye.